How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Coffee and Juice. So I got a comment up on the board that I want to address because it's a little bit of a bigger question. So contingent on your familiarity with a guy named the Liver King or Brian Johnson, obviously this is probably like a year ago where this came out, is that the guy claimed to be natty, but unless you had the brain of a baby possum, you should have been able to figure out that the guy was full of shit. But the real reason I'm bringing that up is that he was slated, and it has been verified through my sources as well, is that he spent around $15,000 USD a month to run a pretty ridiculous cycle. So now, understand, when I start throwing $15,000 a month, you have to consider what's being implemented into this particular protocol. So whenever you see numbers like that numerically, it's the GH that he got prescribed to him, right? If we have to use him as an example to kind of juxtapose on kind of answering this guy's question about how much running gear costs. So the GH secretagogues, which are like your MK677, etc., right? All those things you want to throw in your peptides, your BPC. Now, the numbers I'm going to give you is that if you're working with a clinic. Now, if you ever worked with a TRT clinic, it could be cumbersome and it could be very expensive as things start to add up into your protocol. So now, GH, the secretagogues, the GH, and the peptides is its own supplement or additional cost that you would be implementing. But if you had to basically focus in on the testosterone replacement aspect, right? So you got to figure the transdermal cream and the injectable SIP or enanthate that they're going to give you is around 150 to probably 220 USD per month is normally the average cost. Are they going to throw in that generic Arimidex? Yes. So you got to figure, what are they charging you per pill? If it's 30 pills per month, is it $2? Is it $3 they're jacking it up to? Who's to say? I haven't bought a Arimidex through a clinic in a long time, but I'm assuming, once again, another guy randomly comes out of a driveway. So what I would have to assume is that it's probably $3 a pill. So you're looking at, just to get the ball rolling, cookie cutter wise, you have your testosterone, you got your Arimidex that they're going to give you, because normally that's part of the packaging of, putting your TRT program together. So now, what else could be in the mix for you? I mean, to be honest with you, this question, it's a nebulous question on how much things cost. But if we had to look at the United States, you got your test, you got your Arimidex, you got your secretagogues. Nobody's prescribing you real GH in the United States. Unless you got the monster, unless they look at you and they're like, kid's a dwarf or a little person, no offense, and they're going to give you GH, it's going to be very hard for you to get. And once again, it's a conversation for another day on how omnitrope, genotropin was given to A, B, and C. But let's leave that alone for now. So in my opinion, what you're looking at, just to get the ball rolling, is you're looking at anywhere from 300 to 500 a month. Now consider the cost of the product. You also have to consider that when a clinic sources out a compound, it just doesn't come from one place. Where it comes from, it could be multiple different compounding pharmacies that they use. So when they ship it out, it's about $40 a clip, because normally the things are going to be refrigerated. It doesn't matter what region you come from. So in the United States, running gear, in my opinion, on the low end, you probably could get away with it for $500 a month. Either the transdermal cream or you're pinning yourself, and then you're taking the Arimidex, and that's just to see like, hey, I want to get my levels up to maybe 800 to 1,000. But if you want to start throwing in, the ancillaries to make you maybe more aesthetic, perform better, I mean, this guy, the Liver King, a lot of people make fun of the guy, but he's like, he's hunting animals that are already dead. I mean, the guy's taking out knives, machine guns. I mean, they basically blew the guy out of the water. And I did a video on him like a year ago. If you want to check it out, I think it's worth your while, at least from a comedic standpoint. So the thing is that $12,000 to $15,000, the guy, at least from the upper body, you can't say the guy looks like he's cut out of stone. I mean, give him his just due. He probably eats right. He's juiced to the gills. And that is the byproduct of 15 grand a month. And kudos to him. I'm not really a hater. I just think he got weird after he, they basically ratted on the kid. But anyway, so look, the U.S., anywhere from 500 to 15,000 a month. And then if you're not gonna go to a TRT clinic and you're gonna somehow your endocrinologist or your urologist is gonna maybe you're clinically hypogonadal, maybe you're under 249, your insurance should pick it up. And I say they should. But once again, you have your co-payment. I don't know if they're picking up the whole testosterone, per month and the pins. So either way you slice it, when you go through insurance, obviously you're prescribed it. But like I said in my previous video, for a urologist, endocrinologist to put you on paper to test, they're so scared that they're going to lose their license, that they're basically going to tell you to beat. I mean, that's just America for you when it comes to the pharmaceutical game regarding your well-being and your testosterone level. It's just how it is. So now, if we had to talk about other regions, let's do that now. You started to live in Thailand. There's 3 ways that you can implement a TRT protocol, and I'll give you the prices to match. The first one is you should source out a TRT clinic. Once again, they're here. They're probably going to give you Nebido. They're going to give you an Arimidex or a aromatase inhibitor. Okay, is the more technical term for what they're going to give you. They might even throw in HCG. Now, I don't know the quality of that. That's a conversation for another day regarding, human chorionic gonadotropin is a whole another shelf kind of topic. But so you go to their clinic, they're probably going to hit you for 300 a month, 400 a month, because the compound, you got to look at it like this. Every clinic wants to make money. Let's say they're getting a compound for $150 USD. They're going to probably upsell you at about 400, plus they're going to pin you. You're making an appointment to follow up for the blood work with the doctor. So now you're looking at, once again, when you're overseas, it's sometimes, depending on how you parlay it, it's not going to be cheaper. So in my opinion, you come to Bangkok or you're out here in Thailand, it may be the same as the US. It all depends. But once again, that's not the only way it could be done. You can go into the pharmacy and you can purchase over-the-counter testosterone. But maybe you are not someone who's good at pinning yourself. And once again, I happen to be that guy. I'm terrible. I'm honest with you guys. So what I do is I take whatever injectable I'm using, and you get charged anywhere from 100 to 300 baht per injection by a medical professional who will give you the IM shot. So now that's another way to do it. The third or tertiary way that it could be done is that you buy it, you pin it, and you're basically just paying for the product. So now what you'll see is you'll see the Nebido, you will see Testoviron by Bayer. The only thing I have, and I want some input from you guys, I want you to comment in the section below, is that I'm a guy that tries to authenticate pharmaceuticals when I travel. So normally when you see Testoviron, now this is even in a pharmacy, you're trying to tell me that Bayer only prints the front of the carton and they leave the back of the carton empty and they're selling their testosterone that way. I don't know. If somebody got the answer to this question, I need some help right now, because Testoviron, you would assume that Bayer is a great company, but if you know anything about the underground world, like this is Vice, it's what Bayer gets faked all the time. Everything gets faked at a certain point. The genotropins get faked. I did a video on that. So what I want to know, because we're talking about testosterone TRT, and I'm going to have to basically, there's a bird, I'm going to have to blanket because he's out of control. He's in my video right now. I don't really respect what he's doing. So anyway, he's blocking, but let's talk about testosterone a little bit more. So when we talk about it, you can run it 3 different ways in Thailand. Clinic, you bring to a clinic for the injection. Okay, you procured the pharmaceutical. And then once again, it's a solo operation where you do it all. You buy the pins and you do the injection. So now let's talk about other regions really quickly. So now when we talk about other regions of the world, remember the laws should be followed at all times. And what I recommend you do, and a lot of you is going to be like, come on, I really got to do all this. It seems very cumbersome, legally. But here's the thing. I don't want to see you get in trouble. So a lot of you are going to go to different countries and you're going to buy things and you're going to look to bring them back. And you're like, oh yeah, it's personal use. Okay, maybe you could get away with that. That's cool. But why not in your travels say, you know what, let me try to find a urologist, an endocrinologist in the country that I'm in, explain that, you know what, I'm thinking about moving to your region and I would like to attach a doctor to my medical situation of being hypogonadal. So now hopefully, with no language barrier involved, he says, you know what? Due to the fact that you travel quite often, I'm going to write you this prescription so there's no issues on entrance of whatever country of origin that you might be entering. So at least legally, you would have a leg to stand on if you were to purchase certain things in other countries. Or, like I said, the right way to do it is you work with doctors. Wherever I go, wherever I have the penchant to travel to, or, you see me move around a lot, I say, you know what, today is going to be a doctor's day, meaning I'm going to do my best to sit down with a guy, bring in my documents from other countries and explain, look, I'm a guy who's a tremendous YouTube now, into YouTube now. I have a very big following. Once again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It's gotten better, but there's still some of you that are being voyeurs on me and you don't have the strength to click the subscribe button. So once again, consider subscribing. But anyway, when you go to these regions, I would make a day out of it or 2 days out of it. Do your homework and say, look, this is my situation. Could you help me? And then try to get the prescription lines so then you have the latitude when you travel not to basically get in trouble. So when it comes to America, Thailand, and other regions, the cost I kind of broke down for you contingent on where you are at that moment of time. So hopefully you got something out of the information, and hopefully I answered this guy's question in its entirety. And we'll talk soon. Have a great day, guys, all right?